Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and today I'm going to walk you guys through the Battleship Commander builds that I have been using for most of last week and the weekend, and have been working out pretty well for me so far. We're going to go over, of course, the obvious one, the Deadeye build. We're also going to go over a couple more that I've tried that have worked. Yeah, I mean, they work fine, it's just that right now Deadeye is so good that most of y'all are going to be using this first build here. Anyway, this is, again, just my recommendations of what it has been working for me so far over the past weekend and days since the release of 10.0. I'm not saying this is the ultimate Battleship build, just what has been working for me. And again, these skills are very likely going to be changing here in the near future within a couple of months or so. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive right on in, starting of course with the Deadeye build. Now, most of you are going to have just 19-point commanders. I mean, I haven't gotten a single commander up to 21 points through grinding just yet. My only 21-point commander is Lucian's, and we'll look at him here in a moment. And yeah, it costs a pretty penny to get him to 21 points. Anyway, so for most 19-point commanders, if you want to go with the Deadeye build, you'll be using something kind of like this. So I should be throwing it up on screen for you guys right now. So you'll be taking, my suggestion is preventive maintenance. You're going to be sniping at long range against other battleships. You want to keep your turrets in the battle for your first 1-point skill. Then you want to come down and grab Grease the Gears. You know, of course, with battleships, turrets are, you know, slow. We like to make them a little bit faster, and when you're maneuvering at longer ranges, it's nice to have your turrets kind of keep up with you. Now, they did change. This is, of course, used to be the skill that I used to call MLG turrets, which was actually called Expert Marksman. It's now just Grease the Gears WD-40. It changes it by percentage rather than degrees per second, so it doesn't work as well if you have a ship like, let's say, the Yamato, where you have very slow turrets. It's not as dramatic of an effect anymore, so you still have slow turrets. But on ships with quicker turrets, it actually helps out quite a bit. So like Kremlin and Roma can get some really quick turret traverse out of it if you want to meme around for a bit. But honestly, out of the other 2-point skills, it is by far the most useful, because the other 2-point skills are kind of just, why would you really want to take any of these skills on a battleship? I don't know. But anyways, that'll be your first 2-point skill. And actually only 2-point skill for this build. Then you want to come down and grab Adrenaline Rush, because of course Adrenaline Rush is Adrenaline Rush. This Adrenaline Rush works the same way as old Adrenaline Rush. It's just a 3-point skill now, and that's a move that makes a lot of sense in my mind. Then after that, you want to come down and go ahead and of course grab Deadeye, your first 4-point skill. So of course, like we've talked about a lot over the past couple of days, Deadeye decreases your dispersion by 10% when there is not a spotted ship in your detection range. There can be an enemy ship within your detection range, but he cannot be spotted. That is what deactivates the buff. And then after that, you want to come back around the top. You have some choices here. You can do like I did on Kuznetsov here and take Emergency Repair Specialist, because this decreases the time that it takes for damage con to come off cooldown, and with the Soviet damage con already being pretty darn fast, let's make it a little bit faster so if we get in a tight situation we can have it. Now you could also go over to the left and take Gunfeeder, which is the new Expert Reloader. Works the same way as Expert Reloader, they just changed the name to now where when you switch between one ammunition type, it takes half of your reload time. So let's say you have HE in the tubes and you see that a ship's about to give you broadside, you hit 2 twice and it takes, let's say, just 15 seconds instead of 30 seconds to switch between HE and AP. You could take that as well. There's some other strange choices like Pyrotechnician, which increases your chance of starting a fire by 1% on a main or secondary battery gun. Okay, that's there too. Then we have Incoming Fire Alert, which, okay, wasn't really useful in battleships in the old build. Don't know why it's still even here in the new build. I mean, something like Vanguard might be maneuverable enough to benefit from this, but most battleships won't be. And then we've got Consumable Specialist, which, I mean, it decreases the reload time of main battery reload booster, torpedo reload booster, DFAA, spotting and fighting aircraft. Maybe on like John Barr, but on most battleships you probably wouldn't want to take it. Anyway, skip over the 2-point skills because after that you don't really want to take any of those again. Skip over the 3-point skills and then come down here and then grab Concealment Expert. So Concealment Expert still works the same way that it used to. Decreases your ship's detectability range by a flat 10%. That way there is a smaller radius for ships to infiltrate and deactivate your Deadeye. Then after that, your next 4-point skill, you want to skip over all that again. You're going to come down here and grab Emergency Repair Specialist. This is the only way you can get another charge of the repair party consumable. Superintendent's not available for battleships anymore. So this gives you another heal. And it is a 4-point skill now instead of a 3-point skill. It does also give you another charge of repair party. I'm sorry, not repair party, of damage con if you are a Soviet battleship. So this is also a must-have on any Soviet battleship. Now, after that, you will have 1 skill point left over. So, like I said a couple seconds ago, I took Emergency Repair Specialist on my Russian commander. However, on my American battleship commanders, I took Gunfeeder, so I can have a faster reload time on switching shells. But really what I'm just doing for now is those are just placeholders, because once I get those 2 other skills, and I have 3 skills points now, I'm going to come down and grab Basics of Survivability. That, of course, decreases your flooding and fire time, which, yeah, I like not burning and flooding for as long as I have to, so that's always a lovely skill. Also, by the way, never be tempted by the super heavy AP shells. You get 5% more damage to your AP shells, but the downside is fire and flooding time goes up by 30%. So you might be tempted to take this on the Deadeye build, thinking, okay, I'm going to be sniping, so some extra damage is nice. Yeah, don't, because if you get set on fire and you don't have a damage con, you're going to burn for like a minute. Over a minute if you don't have the flags on as well. So yeah, don't take that. Other than that, for the Deadeye build, that's what you want to take for your commanders. Now, honestly right now, for battleships, that's really the only build most battleships will be using right now, because Deadeye is so darn good. But we're going to look at 2 more that I've tried, and they work pretty fine. Next up is, of course, secondary build. Now, this, of course, is really only viable on the German battleships or on the American higher tier premium battleships, so the Massachusetts, the Georgia, and the Ohio. People have asked about those ships and how they perform now after the secondary skill nerf. And, I mean, the American battleships, like I said in the first video that I did covering the changes, where I actually got to play on the PT server, they still work fine. They are not as good as they used to be. There's no doubt about that. But again, with the new bonuses that the skills give you, it kind of makes up for it. So they still work, just not as well. And you're just, yeah, I'll explain here in a moment once we go through the skills, so just hang in there. So anyway, what you're going to want to take with the secondary build, of course, take preventive maintenance. Of course, we don't want our secondary turrets getting knocked out if we can help it. After that, you're going to want to take grease the gears, because, I mean, hey, when you're building for a secondary build, you're probably going to be getting to a fair few brawling situations, so having fast turrets in a brawling situation is very nice. And of course, on Ohio, it's really freaking nice. Also, if you have Lucians for the German BBs, you get a 25% boost to your rotation time instead of 20%, so that's very, very lovely. Then come down and grab long-range secondary battery shells. This increases your secondary battery firing range by 20%, so that's how we get our secondary guns nice and out there. Then you want to come down and take improved secondary battery aiming. This is the new manual fire for secondary skills, to where you hit left control, click on a ship. Your secondaries are now focused on that ship. It gives you a 35% boost to your secondaries dispersion. However, unlike the old manual fire for secondary skill, your secondaries on the other side of the ship can fire at enemy ships that crop up on that side. That way you can have both sides of your secondaries going if you get in a really bad situation. And from my experiences, it doesn't really do a whole lot. But when you do get into one of those situations, it is nice, because regardless of however many shells hit on that side, it is more damage that you're doing compared to the old system, because the old system only one side would fire. So yeah, even though those guns on the other side of your ship are firing at a much less accurate pace than the ones that you have selected a target for, it's still more damage. but it really hasn't come in handy too much at all from what I've seen. Alright, come back around and grab Adrenaline Rush. Again, Adrenaline Rush is very nice. You get a boost to your reload time as you take damage. Then come down here and take Close Quarters Combat. Now this is the skill that really helps out with the decreased accuracy on the secondary guns, because this skill, first off, it decreases the secondary battery reload time by 10%. But then, if you're in secondary battery range, it gives you a 10% boost to the reload time of your main battery guns. And that, my friends, is very, very, very nice. Think about Ohio with a 10% faster reload time. Think about GK with their 420 guns with a 29-second base reload time when something gets in your secondary range. That certainly helps make up for that lack of accuracy on your secondaries. And keep in mind, too, the accuracy in the secondaries has been taken down by 10%. So it's not that accurate anymore. You can't really drill DDs, but with a nice 10% boost to your reload time on your main battery guns, those couple of seconds really make up a difference. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about and hearing about people complaining about the less accurate secondaries. They are less accurate, but you do get this skill to compensate you. Okay, then lastly, of course, you want to take Emergency Repair Expert. Gives you another charge of your repair party consumables, so that's always very nice. Unfortunately, for German battleships, there's not a way to increase the amount of consumables that you have, so you can't get another charge of Hydro or Fighter, so just keep that in mind. It's, again, just how the game works now, so sad panda there. Almost forgot to talk about IFHE. So IFHE on German battleships, I don't think it's really needed. All you're really doing is gimping your fire chance at the cost of just getting a little bit more pins on HE shells that already have improved pins because it's German HE. And again, you're not really crossing any major thresholds with it on the GK, so I really don't think it's worth it. On the lower tier German BBs, I know a lot of people say, well, I like to push my secondaries up and over on, like, say, the FDG, because they only pin 26 millimeters of armor. Yeah, but you're still cutting your fire chance in half. So, you know, you may be doing a little bit more pin damage, but now with the shells not hitting as much anymore because of the just the accuracy nerf, you know, you really need to be setting as many fires as you possibly can. So it's better to just leave it be and, you know, put some fire flags on, you know, and leave it at that. And plus, again, if you want to take all of the secondary skills, you don't really have the points to take IFHE. So, yeah, unless you don't want to take Emergency Repair Expert and have one less hill, which I don't think is really worth it at all at that point, having to give up that skill, you know, to get IFHE, you know. So that's my personal opinion. Again, I'm not saying this is the ultimate guide. This is just my suggestions to you guys. Alright, so what you're looking at now is my tank build. And it looks a little bit weird because I'm waiting for 2 more points from my Montana captain, but it has been working. So, first off, again, take preventive maintenance. Again, having your main battery guns get knocked out is suckish, so we want to avoid that if we can. Grease the gears for them quicker turrets. Then come down and grab Adrenaline Rush as your first 3-point skill. Again, faster reload time, the less health you got in your ship. And then grab Emergency Repair Expert. Alright, go back around and come back down and grab Basis of Survivability first. Again, decrease that flooding and fire time to your ship. Then for your second 4-point skill, come down and grab Fire Prevention Expert. Alright. That will now leave you with 2 points, which I would normally put into Concealment Expert because, again, let's get detected at a shorter range. But since I am waiting for those last 2 points, what I've done is I've thrown those 2 points into Emergency Repair Specialist, which cools down your damage con reload time, and Gun Feeder. And it's been working out, you know, fine. The detection range does kind of, you know, it's not what it used to be with a full 19-point captain, but since we have to deal with this, this is what's been working for me in the meantime while I wait for those last 2 points to get Concealment Expert. And again, this is a tank build, not a Deadeye build, in case anyone's wondering why there's no Deadeye on this ship. This is a captain that's just designed to tank. And I've tried this mostly on the Soviet battleships, and it's worked out really, really well. So, of course, Soviet battleships are awesome tanks, but of course on any battleship this will work as a satisfactory tank build. AA builds aren't really worth it. You have to invest a lot of points in something that, one, doesn't work that well anyways, and two, is completely null and void if there's no CVs in the match. It's not like back in the day where when you had an AA build, you still kind of had a decent secondary build. That's not how it works anymore, so yeah, I don't really recommend building into that. Alright guys, I hope this helped some of you figure out what you want to put on your ship. These are the 3 main builds that have been working for me thus far. I'm sure most of us are running the Deadeye build. It's by far the most popular one out there so far for battleships. The secondary build, probably the least popular, honestly. I'm sure there's more people running around with tank builds than secondary builds right now, especially given the way that the game is played right now. But anyway, hope this helps you guys out a little bit. And I'm sure a lot of these skills are going to be changed in the coming future, and I'll update this video at that time once these changes are made. And I'll probably do a really in-depth build video once we finally get maybe 2 or 3 months away from where we are now. We have a much more stable idea of what the commander skills are going to stay like. Anyway guys, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way now to 25,000 subs. We just passed 22,000 not that long ago, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Hope you're all having a wonderful Monday. I hope to catch you guys in the next one.